Good day, the life of Cam. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you, Miss Wade. Good to see you, Mr. Paul. I'm gonna get with you today. Perfect. Let me make sure this is working. That looks like that is working. The title bar is working. Good morning. How's the family? I'm going to give an update. Bayless Code is in the house. Say, hey Josh, congrats on the course. Glad to see you. Killing it. Bayless Code. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through, my man. Come on in, guys. Come on in. We'll get started in a quick minute here. Arsenio Brown is in the house. Good to see you, my man. Come on through. Guys, grab your coffee. Whatever you're drinking. I got coffee this morning. This is going to be a good show today, guys. I got a fantastic guest. KB is in the house. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Guys, come on in. When you come in, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity today. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity today, and I have a fantastic brother of ours who's going to come on and give us the game, man. Josh is in the house. That's right. Bella Jallo's in the house. Arsenio said, same brother, first time with your live, happy to be here. Absolutely. Guys, welcome to another Saturday morning live stream, man. I am back at it. It is May the 20th. Guys, and I gotta say, it's a busy time of the year for me. Very, very busy time of the year for me because it's our end of the quarter and we have a lot of deals to close in order for us to make that happen. But one of the things I wanted to just give you guys a quick update on, our brother, Mr. Paul, asked a question. The question is, how's the family, guys? You guys know my family is the most important thing to me. I got to say that. That's the most important thing. That's why I do the things that I do. That's the reason why I continue to get up every single day and work hard and do Saturday morning live streams. It's because of my family. And as many of you guys knew or know, my daughter had open heart surgery for the third time on Wednesday of last week. That's why I didn't go live on last Saturday. Had a lot of things to take care of. But she is doing absolutely wonderful, guys. Her third open heart surgery. She crushed the surgery. Of course, it was a difficult time for us as parents, a difficult time for her. However, she is doing absolutely phenomenal. Went in on Wednesday. She had her surgery. Surgery took a little over 2.5 hours. Got a chance to see her around later that evening. She was coming out of all the drugs that she was on, the anesthesia. Saw her that night where she was starting to really come out of it. We spent the night with her. The next day got better. Next day got better. The next day got better. And we got her home on Saturday in time enough for her to be home for Mother's Day, which was a goal of hers. It wasn't a goal of ours. It was a goal of hers. She wrote down in a notebook that she wanted to be home on Mother's Day, and she gave it to my wife. And it basically said, Mom, I'm hoping to be home on Mother's Day. If I'm not here on Mother's Day, at least I tried my best. So she fulfilled that. She got home one day before, and we had a chance to celebrate my wife, Teresa, at the vineyard that we attend and are members at. And not only that, my mother-in-law was with us as well, too. So we had a chance to celebrate Teresa as well as her mom, grandma for the kids. And it was just an absolute fantastic Mother's Day. So that's an update on the family. We are good. I'm back into the swing of things, guys. And life's good. Just busy as always. I had a basketball game this morning. That's why I'm still going a little bit later in the mornings at 10:30 on Central Time. Another great game. Crushed it. I think the team scored around 40 points, and these are 5 and 6 year old guys. You teach kids the fundamentals. You focus on the fundamentals of dribbling, passing, quick shots, quick buckets, moving fast. They buy into it, and they get it. And they had a phenomenal game. It was our best game that we've had thus far. And I was very, 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 very proud of my kids. My son's on the team. He had a really good game. He went 3 for 5, shooting 60%. However, he said to me after the game, Dad, I'm a bit upset. I'm like, why? And he's like, because I didn't get the ball as much. I'm like, all right, that's what happens, right? So the sportsmanship word of the day was humility. And of course, that means to be humble. So, that was a humbling moment for him. That's a humbling moment for many people on the team and so forth. There were no gritties going on after people shot baskets and stuff like that. So it was just a fantastic game. The parents are very happy with me today as well, too. But guys, away from me now. I wanted to have this show today to talk to you guys about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a hot field. Cybersecurity is a field that I want more of us to get into. Cybersecurity is a field that pays very well. Cybersecurity is a field that is the future. And there is a high demand for cybersecurity professionals. And what I decided to do today was bring on a good brother of ours. First time that he's on this channel. Got a chance to meet him some months ago, and he is an absolutely fantastic young man, and has a fantastic YouTube channel teaching people about tech, careers, ways that they can improve their lives, ways that they can break into the cybersecurity field, ways that they can reduce their cost on going to school. Just an absolutely phenomenal brother of ours. And I asked him to come onto the show today to spend some time with us. And many of you guys, I'm sure, many of you guys know him because his channel is way bigger than mine. And I've been following him for a very long time. But I wanted to bring him on so that he can introduce himself to you guys today. His name is Mr. Josh Madakor. And we are going to bring him on to say hi to our audience today. Josh, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm good. How are you? How's everybody?
Doing fantastic, my man. Doing absolutely fantastic. JB is saying that I am popping right now, but you know what? I'm going to keep it going because my sound sounds really good on my side. I don't know about on you guys' side, but if you guys hear that I'm popping, leave me a little bit more into the chat. But Josh, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience that do not know who you are. Give us a little bit of your background and so forth. Go ahead, Josh. Introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. So my name's Josh Madakor. I'm currently 38 years old. I've been in tech and IT pretty much since probably 2007. I kind of avoided it for a long time because I liked computers for like playing games and that type of stuff. But I got like really tired of being poor, and I wanted to buy like a Subaru WRX. Like back in the day when I was like really young, and I was like, oh, I can't buy this with my mom's money because like she doesn't have any money. So I just decided to like get into IT and try to make the best of myself and make enough money to buy my car, which turned into much more in the future. But that's kind of like how I got into IT. I just wanted to like not be poor anymore.
Wow, wow. So it was really about money for you, and why? Why did you decide that IT was the course to go? Why did you decide that IT was the course to go, Josh?
Because I knew that you could at least make a more than average money in it, and I was kind of already into computers. Like I would build computers like for the sole purpose of playing games, so it kind of was like the path of least resistance for me. So that's kind of why I got into it.
I love it. I love it. So you grew up not a lot of money. I grew up with not a lot of money as well, and the reason why I chose to enter the tech space is because one of the things that I was told early on, Josh, was in order for you to be successful in life, you had to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? So, I'm thinking, all right, well, I like computers too because, I had my PlayStation, Sega Genesis. I wanted to be one of those guys that played video games and stuff like that as well, or either work on them. And long story short, I went to school for, initially for computer science. Then I got into management information systems, which is ITM, and then went into my first role as a software engineer. Talk about how you broke into the space, Josh, right? Because I know from your channel you are a big fan of one of the best schools that exist out there, WGU.
Oh,
But talk about how
yeah.
you broke into the tech space and what education that you leveraged to break into the tech space, sir.
Sure. So I started going to community college in 2007, and I actually originally started going for computer science. And I was just in the computer lab one day, like working on my Visual Basic or my code or whatever. And then I would see people like kind of walking in the lab and like helping other students with like kind of general computer problems. And I was like, oh, that seems so easy and it's convenient inside the school, and I could probably do that. So I just like went and talked to the computer lab, like the IT department in the community college, and they couldn't hire me right away, but I kind of kept in contact with them, and they just hired me eventually as like a super part-time computer lab assistant. I think I was making like $10.50 an hour or something, and I kind of just worked in that job, and it was like a really like tier like 0.5 help desk. But I kind of got better because I was studying like computer science and IT stuff. And then I just kind of did my best and paid attention around me to stuff that needed to be improved, like, reduce paper waste and like try to automate stuff. And so I just tried to help out a lot with that. And then eventually, after 2 years of like trying really hard, I got hired full time in that IT department. I think I was making like $25 an hour or something. That was my first real IT job in 2009. So that's kind of how I
Wow.
got in.
Wow. 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 So you started off in the help desk where a lot of people start off.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And then talk about the education piece of it, Josh. Like what was your formal level of education and what degree did you actually graduate with and why did you choose it?
Sure. So I actually got hired before I even finished my 2 year degree. So I was making, about 50K, and then I finally finished my 2 year degree in like 2011. I switched from computer science into like just a normal IT degree, like a 2 year associates. And then, fast forward like another couple of years in 2013, I discovered WGU probably in like 2010, and I kind of prepared for it. And I decided to get like their general IT, like their general bachelor's in IT, just for the sake of trying to join the Navy as an officer. That was like my kind of goal back then. Um, I I wouldn't have gotten a bachelor's degree if WGU didn't exist, because like I don't really like like prolonging processes for like you know being forced to take like a whole quarter to finish a class and then paying like too much for college. So when WGU came around, I was like, oh, this is like so nice. It's like relatively cheap and I can go like as fast as I want. So I got a normal IT bachelor's degree from them. And I kind of just sat on that and had that for 7 years or something. And I was like, oh, I want to get a master's degree, like eventually, just to have it, because WGU had like a decent one in cybersecurity. So I ended up getting that in probably 2020. And by the way, like, I don't want to like, I have like kind of a lot of education. I don't want people to think like, oh, you need like 3 degrees to get into IT, but I'm just kind of weird and I'm kind of a loner and I study like a lot and I just happened to get a bunch of degrees. So like after the master's in cyber in 2020, I was like, man, I want to do this PhD program at Dakota State University, and that requires like an actual comp sci degree. So I went and got a comp sci degree in like 2021, I think.
Wow.
I had like so many credits already.
Right.
It was kind of easy for me to just like bang out the rest of the classes. So that's kind of, I like pivoted like a bunch of times, like from IT to like cybersecurity and then to computer science, but it's just because I'm weird. It's not like it's required to have all of those for our field or anything like that. But
yeah. Well, I mean, like that's just, what it sounds like though, Josh. It sounds more of like you are a avid learner. You're a student, right? You're always looking to learn something. You're always looking to grow. And, talk about this, right? Because you went from computer science to IT, right? And, you got an associate's or whatever it was, and you graduated from WGU with an IT degree. Then you went back and completed your computer science degree. Like, what was in your mind going through that time, right? Was it just the fact that you just didn't know what career path you wanted to take? Was it the fact that, you were just looking to continue to stack skills and get into the coding side of things? Like, what was your thought process behind that? Because I have a lot of students that are on this channel or watch this channel, and they are going to get their degrees now. Maybe management information systems. I recommended WGU for a long time with their information technology management degree, which is the management information systems degree, right?
Yeah, it's good.
It's a great degree, and you were one of the ones that actually put me onto that because of the research you've done and you having the ability to accelerate you going through WGU to get a degree in, like 5 or 6 months or something along those lines. I remember the video that you put out. But talk about like why you have so many degrees outside of being a avid learner. Was there something in your career that you was like, okay, well, I need to stack that skill, or I want to make a pivot to this other field in tech? Talk about that aspect of it.
Yeah. I'm very strange. I just want to preface what I'm going to say with that. So like, I'll kind of like individually talk about why I got the different degrees. Like the very first bachelor's degree I got because I wanted to like join the Navy as like an officer, and I need a degree. And the second, like the cybersecurity master's, and then the comp sci degree I got because I wanted to do this cyber operations PhD program at Dakota State, and I need to have like both of those to even apply to that. So that's kind of why I got those. And then another reason why I got the computer science degree is up until that point, I had like a decent amount of like, vanilla IT experience and then cybersecurity experience. And I just wanted to kind of round it out with getting some kind of software development, like software engineer experience. And I was watching like other people on YouTube, like Sandra and Clement and, all those other cool kids who were doing software engineering. And I was having FOMO. So I just wanted to like get the comp sci degree and just work a little bit. So I was able to do it. And I just worked a year as a contractor at Microsoft doing, primarily coding and development things. So I think that like kind of helped me. Like when I get more experience for stuff, I can kind of disseminate it out to the people around me and like help my channel be better. So that was like kind of part of it as well. And I just, do a lot of strange stuff like that. So.
No, you think it's strange, Josh, but actually there's a benefit from it, right? Because what you're basically doing is you're educating yourself so that you can educate others, right? You are that type of person. It sounds like that you like to put yourself in positions to learn stuff so that you can get the experience to be able to talk about it, right? And that's why I think you're I know your channel is so strong because you have a well-rounded background, and not only that, you have a well-rounded foundation. I mean, you have a computer science degree, you have an IT degree, you've done a number of things. It definitely shows, right? You can talk about it. You can pick things apart. You can create ways of new ways of helping people, which you've ultimately done with us,
Yeah,
right, in
that
our
does help.
partnership and stuff
Yeah,
like that, right? So
yeah,
I don't think it's strange at all. You think it's strange, but I think it's absolutely genius, right? And I look at it this way: if we're all students of education and always looking to learn and grow, the most important thing that we can do is to continue to educate ourselves, continue to build our skills, but also to share that information. That information that we're able to share is super, super valuable. And it comes back
mhm,
into a form that a lot of times many of us just don't know what that form is, right? It could be, the fact that we're able to
yeah,
build a YouTube channel. It could be the fact that we're able to build a course, and it's a lot of money. It's worth a lot. It's worth a lot of value. So, I share this with my audience all the time, Josh, is how do you continue to grow and build and stack on your skills that you have? Because, you can't stay still for too long. The tech industry
yeah,
continues to evolve. We're already seeing, artificial intelligence and the rapid pace that has gone on and how it has accelerated since ChatGPT in November of last year. I mean, like I use the thing every single day now, right? It's helped me
yeah,
with,
yeah.
my job on a daily basis and create
Mhm,
efficiencies that I never would have thought exist, right? So
mhm.
there's a method to your madness. So I want to give you credit on that. So let's talk about this, Josh, right? Like,
Nice.
what part of the tech field do you like the most? Because you went and did the computer science piece. A lot of people ask me all the time, "Hey, Antoine, I'm going to go to school. Should I do computer science?" I'm like, it depends, right? Don't get me wrong. Computer science would be a great degree to get into and to get. And if you really want to be technical or you really want to have a strong technical foundation, but there's others that exist out there like ITM, management information systems, right? Information systems, information science. Talk about, from your perspective, what field do you like the most, and also what do you encourage others to potentially pursue if they were going to go with a formal education?
Yeah, that's hard one. Yeah, I so if someone is like really undecided, I kind of recommend that you just get like a general, like the IT general degree, because that pretty much like exposes you to everything. Like you do some coding in there, like some database management. There's some cybersecurity, and there's a lot of like everything in there. And when you do something like anything, you kind of learn about yourself, like what you like and what you don't like.
Mm,
And I highly recommend, like, if you go into tech, you can kind of make a lot of money anywhere, but making a lot of money becomes way easier if you can stomach the thing that you're doing, or even better yet, if you like the thing that you're doing. So
mm, mm.
just I recommend going general, and then figure out what you like, and then just pick that, and then pivot along the way, and just try to stick to doing the thing that you enjoy doing, I guess, is would
Uh,
be my advice for that.
I love that. I absolutely love that, Josh. Right, and that's something that when I educate folks and mentor and coach folks as well too, especially the younger folks, where they're like, "Oh, what sort of degree should I get?" Or why information systems, why management information systems? Because it is broad. You do get the exposure of database management, web development, software engineering, coding. You get a taste of it all, and which ultimately can lead you down to a path where you can choose, right? And dive deeper into that field
Yeah.
based on what you've learned. I chose the field of, or the career as a software engineer, because I must say, in college, when I would get a coding assignment, I went and did it that same day. I was amped up for it. I loved VB.net. I loved Visual Basics with Visual Basics 4, and I loved the C Sharp. And I was just like, you know what? Like, if this is what I like to do, then I must say I want to do this for my career. And that's what made
Mhm.
me go a little bit deeper into the software engineering space and actually apply for a software engineer role while I was a senior, and it led me to starting my career as a software engineer. And it sounds like you're basically saying the exact same thing, right? Like, go to school, get a degree, a worthwhile degree, first of all, that's going to allow for you to get the exposure you need, and then you can actually start to pivot along the way, or either not pivot, but to narrow down your focus based on what it is that you ultimately like.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So, and now, Josh, like a lot of the things that you talk about into on your channel is cybersecurity. You talk about cybersecurity quite a bit. Talk to us about your experience in cybersecurity, and then we're going to get into, the what, why cybersecurity, why people should get into the field of cybersecurity. It's a big field, a lot of demand, and so forth. But I want to hear from your perspective, your background in cybersecurity, and then we want to talk to the audience about how this is a fantastic field that they should consider.
Sure. Yeah. So my first like actual this is kind of important too. So my first actual job in cybersecurity with like security in the title was in, I think it was like 2017. My first position was like a senior cybersecurity analyst, which is interesting because it was my first position. I had some IT experience already, but I just applied for this job and I ended up getting it. So that kind of I want to encourage people to apply to like a lot of stuff, even if they don't think they can get it. But that job was kind of, so there's like a lot of different domains in security. There's like identity and access management, like device security, physical security, like network security, and then security operations. Like there's a lot, governance. But that job that I had it's kind of like security operations. So I kind of managed and monitored the SIM for this kind of small bank, for when we had some kind of security alerts that would come up. And then I also managed like and set up the DLP system, like data loss prevention. So if somebody emailed like 500 social security numbers like outside of the company, it would get flagged, right? And I would have to review it, like this kind of thing. It was just like kind of general security operations. And then after that, I had a couple different jobs at like a local government in Washington and King County, where I was doing more so like governance, risk, and compliance. So basically, it would just be doing like risk assessments and security reviews for little projects and initiatives that the government, like King County, was doing. We would like make sure the system they were trying to build or buy was secure, and then if it wasn't, we would try to bring it in line, as much as we could while still allowing the business to function. That kind of thing. And then after that job, I kind of pivoted a bit into like development mixed with cybersecurity as a contractor at Microsoft. If you look up Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark, I was like one of the original people to kind of work on that. And then I kind of switched into the software development side and still worked on that project, but I was doing more so like automation in kind of facilitating the development of the security benchmark through like, just helping automate things, I guess I could say. So that's kind of my career, I guess, in a nutshell, in terms of cybersecurity.
No, that's dope. Like that's dope. The operation side of it, right? But also the development side as well, too, right? That's pretty awesome, right? And that's for the people that's actually watching just this, Josh. You're leveraging all the things that you've learned in your studies, and you are applying them in the real world. Now, one of the things I kept hearing you say is contract. You mentioned that you work for Microsoft in contract roles, right? Why was that the path for you versus more of like a full-time role?
I'm glad you asked this, because I talk about this a lot, and I want people to at least, I guess, acknowledge what I'm about to say. So I kind of notice a trend, like people are like scared of contracts because they're like scared of their job they're scared of getting fired or whatever. But in my opinion, you're not really any more, I don't know, you're not really any more safe as a contractor than a full-time employee, as you've seen with like Twitter and Google, like all these other big companies. And the reason, and it's ironic because I was a contractor at Microsoft when like 12K people got got let go, and like I didn't get let go for whatever reason, or my department didn't suffer cuts. But I prefer contract roles. This is going to sound bad, but I'm going to be candid here. You tend to have like less responsibility as a contractor, or like less expectations, because usually you get paid hourly, and then usually they don't dump a bunch of random stuff on you. You usually get hired for like a specific reason, like to fill some specific role or augment some team in a specific way. Versus if you're a full-timer, it's a little bit more like they kind of expect more of you, and you're more so like salaried-ish. Usually it kind of depends, but I prefer that because it's more easier for me to deal with. Also, it's way easier to get hired as a contractor than a full-time person, because the org, they feel like, oh, if they don't work out, we can just like let them go at like the end of their contract. It's kind of like an excuse for them. So it's easy to get hired as a contractor. So for an example of this is my last job at Microsoft. Like the manager, they already like kind of knew who I was anyways, and I didn't even interview. They just like, I was interviewing at like Google and Amazon, like Tenable, like already, and it's like absolutely exhausting. But Microsoft was like, oh, like we'll bring you on for I said I wanted 180K, and I would just drop all my other all my interviews, and they were like, okay, and then they just like hired me, and I didn't have to interview. So I don't know. It's way easier to get jobs as a contractor, and it's nice because like a lot of people are scared of it, right? So if you're kind of the person who takes those things that like other people don't want to do, it ends up being really advantageous for you, and you can get a lot of experience. And like maybe you work the contract for a year and like quit, and then go get another job, kind of like easily, or more easy than a full-time position, and work there for some time, and you kind of can get a lot of exposure that way, and have kind of less responsibility. So that's kind of why I like being a contractor. To be honest, it's pretty good.
No, hey, you got to go back to that number. How much did you ask them for again?
180K. To drop my other.
You asked them for 180K. Holy shit, that's big time.
I mean, compared to like those other FANG software engineers, like, well, I guess 180K base cash is kind of a lot, actually. But as a contractor, like usually you don't get like equity or like stock or anything like that. But like I don't care about that, to be honest, because I'm not trying to wait for the vesting period for that, so I don't even care.
No, I like that, Josh. That's a good take on it, right? Like, I've always been a full-time guy. I've only worked for 2 companies in my entire life, right? So, one of the things that you said was, and not only what you said, it's just your actions. Your actions are, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that. I want a lot of knowledge. And you choose to get education that way, but you also choose to work that way as well, right? A lot of times at full-time roles, you don't get that much exposure if you're working full-time for a company, right? Because a lot of times people want to kind of pigeonhole you where you're good at. You're like, all right, you know what? If I go the contractor role, if I want to do, security operations, I can do that for a while, right? And if I want to work on the coding side of things, I can leverage my computer science degree and work on the coding side of things, but I can get a job as a contractor versus a full-time, worker, right? Because if you're in cybersecurity in a Microsoft full-time, a lot of times they're not going to say, okay, well, you can go into our development organization and work on that product as a developer, right? That takes quite a bit of time to even be able to do that. You're saying, you know what? I'm done with this. My contract is over, or I'm choosing to terminate my contract, and I'll choose to go on this side when I want to do it myself. So you are creating, the type of roles that you want, but also you're creating the path that you want to be in as well too. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I will say, for the people who are scared of contracts, as somebody who hires other people and has my own business, as strange as it might be, if you get hired and you deliver value, at least the level of value that that they're expecting, or deliver more value than that, they're not going to like fire you at all. They're going to try to retain you,
Mm,
because why would you fire someone when it doesn't make economic sense? Like if you're delivering more value, like they'll always try to retain you. um Even like when the budget happens, like I don't know if it's my team or like me, but like I didn't get fired from Microsoft. But
mm.
I just want to say, like, just it, it'll take a long time for me to like explain how to deliver value, but if you're good, it's very unlikely that you'll be like terminated before your contract like ends, if that makes sense. I've never been fired from a contract.
It makes sense, Josh. It makes total sense. I mean, in the line of working full time or contracting, if you're not delivering value, more than likely you're not going to keep your job, right? And depending
Yeah,
on where
yeah,
you are in the company, which is why I talk about this often on this channel, the tech space, depending on where you are in the company, will determine where you're potentially, if you're going to get fired or not, right? You work for Microsoft, you're in HR. You work at Google, you're in HR. Of course, when companies are starting to downsize and so forth, they're going to be the first people who get cut because there's no work for you to do if
yeah,
there's a hiring freeze, right? If you work in
yeah,
the
yeah.
support center operations for a product that is in sustain mode, right? And they're starting to build automations behind it where it's eliminating the need for somebody to physically touch that product and talk to an actual customer. Those are going to be the roles that they're going to be eliminating, right? I must
Yeah.
say this though, during the times of the Great Resignation and so forth, and the Great Firing as well too, contractors were let go, but these were contractors that were not on the tech side, right? The contractors that was let go were the HR contractors, the recruiting contractors, and all of those folks
Yeah.
who no longer are adding value to a company. You, on the other hand, being on the technology side in a field that is critical to the overall business, of course they're not going to eliminate you being in the cybersecurity field, right, or development field, working on a product that is a long-term growth strategy for your company that you're working for. I like to say this, Josh. If you want to have some sort of stability in your career when times are rough, the first place that I want people to go to and consider is tech sales, right? Because you're directly tied with the revenue, right? And if you are good at your job, they're not going to eliminate you. The other side of it is a critical element of the product that you support, right? Or the product or service that your company supports and needs, which is
Mhm.
cybersecurity, because every single day something is being hacked, data is being leaked. So they need that protection, and they're not going to eliminate the people who are adding value in those positions. What's your take on that, Josh?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I do want to say, like, it is possible for you to get black swan, right? If you're
Yep.
like, if you're, that means like a unexpected crazy thing happens.
Yep.
So like you can be like in a really good position, and then maybe like Elon Musk acquires your company and like like does something to it. That's possible to happen,
Yeah.
even if you're like really good. But yeah, for the most part, like as long as you um if you're like you know someone who's like really making a lot of money for the company, or in cybersecurity, someone who's like really preventing the loss in a critical way for the company, like it's kind of unlikely for you to get let go. But the black swan, that word exists for a reason.
It does. It does. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So let's get back into the focus on the cybersecurity part, Josh. Right? Like you have just released a fantastic cybersecurity operations course for the company level, and it is a absolute wonders. Tell people what and why they should consider, or tell people why they should consider a career in cybersecurity from your perspective. Give them the what, why, and how they can actually go about doing it, Josh.
Yeah, so the what part, like what is cybersecurity? Basically, like Antoine was talking about, usually when you're working in tech, you're either like, in tech sales or something, and you're making the business money, or you're in some kind of support position where you're, enabling the business to continue to make money, or you're in cybersecurity where you're primarily like preventing the business from losing money, essentially. So it's really important, because of this buzzword, like the threat landscape, like, the all the attacks and stuff like going on. It's really easy for companies to get like jacked and lose like a lot of money. So there's always going to be like some kind of need for cybersecurity or like some kind of cyber defense function for organizations if they don't want to lose a bunch of money and if they want to stay in compliance, depending on what they're doing. And also, like, according to like Bureau of Labor statistics, like the cyber field is growing like quite a bit, and then there's a lot of new jobs growing, or a lot of new jobs like coming, I guess, being created. So if you like, think technology is interesting and you want to have kind of like a stable skill set, I guess I could say, it might be kind of good to consider like, a career in cybersecurity. And there's like a lot of different domains. So you just kind of have to figure out, I guess, what you like the best. But usually when people like think of cybersecurity, they think of like security operations, like, defense, like defending the network. But there's like, auditing and like identity and access management and governance and like all these other things. But they kind of, the whole goal of those is to kind of prevent entities from losing money. Or if you work in defense, it's, to safeguard, I guess, the country, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah.
And tell them this, Josh, right? So that was fantastic. Talk about, why they should do it. And when I mean why, you already hit why, right? Because it is a job or a career that you're pretty much protected. You will, have a long career progression and so forth. But talk about the money aspect of it as well, too, right? Because that's something that I like to talk about on this channel. And you said something earlier, as a contractor, you asked for 180 and you got the 180. That's some good salary, right? But talk about what people can do in the cybersecurity field from a monetization or a money standpoint, salary standpoint, and so forth.
Yeah, generally pays like pretty well, more than, I guess, generally speaking, it usually pays more than vanilla IT, like whatever that means. But yeah, usually it pays like pretty decently. The first job I had in 2017, in Hawaii too. Hawaii is like really bad for salary and like IT pay. It's like quite bad. But that job I got 97K. And then the next job I got at like the King County, it was like 115K. And then the next one was 130K. And then the one at Microsoft was 180K. But you can make like, quite a bit more than this if you're working at like maybe like a actual company that does cybersecurity, or like one of the big tech companies. You can make more than that. I was just like a contractor, right? And you can this is kind of getting into like the entrepreneurial space, but I don't want to say easy, but it's somewhat easy to make content around cybersecurity, because so many people have been interested in it in like the last couple of years, and it's kind of growing is my general sentiment. I don't have like hard numbers for that right now, but cybersecurity content, it tends to like do well if it's well produced and like, well created, pretty high quality. So there's that too. There's like, it's relatively easy to monitor. I don't want to say easy, but relative to other things, you can kind of monetize it outside of the traditional like kind of job space as well. But yeah, it's pretty lucrative in general. Yeah.
I love it. I love the fact that you even hit on the content creation space, right? Because that's an area for you as all this education that you have, all this work that you've done on the contractor side, but you also are doing things outside of your full-time job to sustain yourself and to create more value for other people and to create more money for yourself. Talk to the people now, Josh, about how they can get into cybersecurity. You already talked about the what is cybersecurity. You already talked about the why cybersecurity. Talk about how now. How could people get into cybersecurity? There was a question that I saw come up in here about, entry-level work in cybersecurity. Talk about how people can get into cybersecurity.
Sure. So generally speaking, like cybersecurity, like entry level cyber, as you think about it, is actually like mid level. It's like mid career. So it's kind of it's challenging to go. I'll talk about like why this is, but it's kind of challenging to go from like nothing and then into cybersecurity. In my opinion, like the main reason for this is companies they don't like 100% know what they want or need, so they want somebody who can like kind of tell them, or they want somebody who already knows like what at least kind of what they're supposed to do, and they won't. I don't. I've never been like trained, like I got hired for a cyber position, like we're gonna train you, like that just like doesn't really happen. Um, so to get into cybersecurity, even if you're like not, even if you've been working in IT already, it can be kind of challenging. So the thing that I was able to see in the industry is like a lot of people would study a lot, like they'd get Security Plus and like all these certs or whatever, and but they would be like here, but they need to be like here in order to get hired. But people like don't know how to like bridge this gap to like being like quote unquote good enough to get hired.
Mm.
So I tried to put something together that would help bridge that gap. So like basically, getting hired like anywhere, I know my viewers have heard me say this like too many times already, but like to get hired, it pretty much only boils down to at least having some kind of skill set, and then being able to like convey the skill set and convince someone to hire you. Essentially, you don't need a license or a degree or like any of that really. You just need the skills, and you need to like be able to portray those and like convince someone to hire you. So the gap where people are like they don't have enough experience or even like pseudo experience for employers to like want to hire them, I guess, like if they don't have experience. So you can kind of make this for yourself, right? Technically you can build, this is what the course does, right? You can build an environment, and then you can appropriately secure that environment, and then record all the metrics like all along the way, and then show that in a way and talk about it in a way that kind of convinces employers that you're like quote unquote good enough, or that you'll be able to like hit the ground running essentially if they were to hire you.
Mm.
And this is the case for anything really, but in IT and then cybersecurity, like specifically, like if you can talk about all of those industry standards and like best practices, and you can show that you've used a sim and you've like done X, Y, and Z, and it makes sense to you, and you can convey that, there's no reason for the employer to like not hire you. And that's kind of the reality of it. And so I tried to build the course in such a way that that experience, that missing experience component, to show your skills. I tried to build the course in a way that makes you convey that like really, I don't want to say easily, but it's a clear path that you can take to like be able to get hired essentially. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, guys, Josh is a fantastic educator. He's a fantastic person. He was able to partner with Leveled Careers and create the cybersecurity course for Leveled Career. Leveled Careers. So if you guys go to www.leveledcareers, LEVELD careers.com, and click on the cybersecurity link here. So I'll walk you through it as you guys see on my screen right here. You click on the courses and you click on cybersecurity. Josh is the instructor for the cybersecurity course, and you will learn everything about the course here on a Leveled page. But also, Josh has a lot more information on his Josh Tech Cyber, where it gets into the details of the actual course, from the course breakdown, him being the instructor, the testimonials, and so forth. And the course is only $500, guys. $497 one-time payment, $497, a payment plan of 2 payments of $250. And this is a world-class course that will help you break into the cybersecurity field. And it's taught by none other than Josh Madakor, person that you're seeing right now on this channel. And as a partner for Leveled, If you guys use Josh discount code or the Black Heights discount code of Black 100, you'll be able to get 10% off. That'll be, use the link in the description of this video. You'll be able to get 10% off on that overall course, which will drop the price from $497 to about $450. And if you want to break into cybersecurity, this is the course to get. This is the absolute course to get by none other than Josh Madakor, who's been in the cybersecurity space for quite some time. And he realized that there is a skill deficit, and that deficit is quite narrow. A lot of people choose to get in with certifications and so forth, but what Josh is saying, that there's a little bit more work that you need to do to demonstrate that you are skilled so that employers will hire you. And that is a lot around the overall labs. So what Josh has done is he's created the course to give you a good understanding of cybersecurity, but also he gives you that extra. That extra is that hands-on experience by labs so that you can articulate yourself when you're in interviews and be able to know exactly how to protect environments, how to secure environments, threat detection, and so forth. So guys, go and check it out on the Leveled site, www.leveledcareers.com. Or also you can go to Josh's website, which I'll share with you right here. It's joshmadakar.tech/cyber, and we'll drop that into the description as well too. You guys can go and pick that course up. And I'll tell you this right now, it is a world-class course. We're getting a lot of feedback on this course, and people have already gotten jobs already. And guess what, guys? The course was only released in April. So it hasn't even been 2 months yet since the release of the course. And Josh continues to update it. Josh continues to support the actual students. There's a Discord, there's a community behind it. You won't be left on your own when you're in this course. There are people that are in there who's already graduated, who already have the certification and so forth, that are willing to help you out. We're going to be rolling out a coaching program as well too, so that those students will have an opportunity to help some of the new students that are going through and that may have some challenges and so forth. But guys, go and check it out. Go and check it out. The link will be in the description. It's waiting. More than likely drop it into the chat as well too, but you'll see the link in the description of this channel, and you can use Josh's discount code. And Josh, what's your discount code, by the way?
It's just like Josh 10.
Josh 10. Use Josh 10, or you can use Black 100. That is Black 100, and that'll give you 10% discount on the Josh's course that he created for Level Careers. Josh, man, this is absolutely fantastic and game changer, and what we need in order for it to get more people into the cybersecurity space. Because as I continue to read about tech and positions and the future and so forth, like you said, Bureau of Labor Statistics has the cybersecurity space growing at 27%. Right? We already know that there's not a lot of people of color into the tech space in a lot of these positions, and this is an opportunity for people to get in and make a high salary, way above the median income, right? Because the median income in the United States for, anybody is $48,000. You got your first job in cybersecurity at 97. The SOC analyst role, the role that you can get if you graduate from this course and you actually, can have studied very well, you can make $97,000, guys, as a SOC analyst, information security analyst. So that's a lot of money. That puts you in a really good financial position to pay off student debt, to gain, to buy your first home, whatever it is that you want to use that money for. But it's here on the market right now, guys. Go ahead and sign up if you're interested in the cybersecurity. We did this. We partnered together to make sure that we were going to be able to come to the market with something that was going to be valuable for a lot of people. And thus far, people are getting a lot of value from it. We already have a number of students who've already gotten jobs. We already have a number of students who have gotten their certifications and so forth, and is absolutely doing fantastic. Josh, you got a quick, some more time for some quick questions in the super chats that people have sent my way?
Yeah, I suspect people are going to be asking questions. So yeah.
Well, let's go with the super chats first. We got a $4.99 super chat from Mr. Damon, our brother Damon. He says, tired of being poor is a damn good motivator. I love that you said that, Josh, early on, right? Like, you wanted to make the change, and you went into the tech space because you understood that this is a space that is lucrative. You can make a lot of money. And you knew that, it wasn't going to come for free. You wasn't going to get money for free. So you had to go into a field that was going to be able to do that. So you chose that path. And you know what? There's no bigger motivator than money, right? You don't want to be poor. You don't want to grow up in, bad parts of town and stuff like that. Get into tech. Get into tech. I love that you said that, Damon. J Jow 4040 says, what's IT in the Navy like day to day? I don't know if you can answer that, Josh. Did you end up going into the Navy?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually do that. I just got the degree and then I just went and did something else. I did work on a Marine Corps base with Marines in Japan for a few months, and it wasn't that good. But your mileage may vary. It really depends on like what you're doing. If you want to join the Navy and like do something cool, look into CTN. Just Google like Navy CTN, and then I think there's like a Army equivalent and an Air Force equivalent, but the Navy is like it's kind of like where it's at. It's really cool. Just look it up. You go through like a really cool training that you can't pay to go through it. You have to be in the Navy, so it's pretty cool. Like Navy CTN, and then look up CTN Ion, like CTNION. Those are cool. Those jobs I know are cool, but everything else, like I don't really know.
Yep, nope, not an issue. We got a brother. His name is Kamau, and he's in the U.S. Navy as well, and he's stationed in Japan right now. And he's on this channel right now. It's under the Life of Cam. It's a great YouTube channel. And he just graduated with his master's in information technology management from Western Governors University. And he'll be able to tell you about all the things in the Navy from positions and tech positions and stuff like that. He's going to be making this transition out of it relatively soon to get into the civilian world because, obviously there's a more lucrative opportunities that are there outside of the Navy. But he loves serving his country, and is a fantastic young man, one of the Black Heights community members, and absolutely crushing it. I believe he said, based on the chat, he's in Laos right now. So he's nice. One of the things he asked too, Josh, which I want to ask you before I get to the rest of the super chats. He wants to be a digital nomad, and I know that's you right now. And a lot of people want that freedom and flexibility. Many of you guys don't know, Josh is in Japan right now. When I met Josh, I think he was in. hold on. Do it again, Josh. Do it again. I'm gonna put the camera directly on you. Dried squid from a 7-Eleven. I love it. Yeah. I love it. So Josh is. When I met Josh, I think he was in Japan, and then he came back to the States for a while, and then he went back to Thailand, and then he went to Japan again. So he's traveling all over the place, and he's been able to do that because of his job, right? The jobs that he's gotten, and his education, but also the fact that he chose to go and become an entrepreneur as well too, right? That's a huge part of it as well. Is he can have your W-2 job, but what are you doing outside of your W-2 job to earn additional income? And as I coach on this channel, create platforms. Create a platform where you can gain an audience. If once you have an audience and you have the knowledge and you're in the tech space, you can build courses, or you can build or coach, or whatever it is that you can do in order for you to help people get to where they want to in their career because of your level of knowledge. And Josh has been able to do this at a high level. And I'm gonna tell you like this, he does very well for himself. Josh, can you talk about like the whole digital nomad thing and how you like that, and if that was something that was on your radar, and do you recommend it to people?
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I think, well, I don't want to speak for everybody, But for me, my mental health seems to be tied kind of directly to my autonomy to, like, be wherever I want and do wherever I want, and to be able to kind of have the freedom to go anywhere. I'm happier in general, so it's pretty nice. And I would recommend it, even if you don't want to do it. I recommend putting yourself in the position to be able to do it, if that makes sense, if you want to.
Mm.
So what that means is, I guess if I make it really short, basically, like, the better you are and, like, the more skills you have, the more value you provide. Even if your job is, like, not originally remote, it's possible for your employer to make it be remote, or, like, allow you to be remote.
Mm.
Especially, if you work at somewhere and you have a decent track record, you can pretty much get away with, like, anything. And I don't really follow rules like that well. So I was probably going to, like, make it happen, like, even if my employer, like, tried to say no or something, but it ended up, like, working out okay. The only thing that's bad about being digital nomad and, like, working in the States, is, like, the time difference, like, tends to suck. Like, right now it's like 1:41 a.m. And normally I'll have, like, my daily sync or something like midnight or like 2 a.m. That sucks, like, quite a bit. But being able to, like, be in, essentially wherever I want is, like, really, really nice. And you can kind of do, I think the word is, like, economic arbitrage, where, say you make, like, 60K, for example, and you go to, like, Thailand. The 60K is, like, surprise, you now make 200K, based on, like, how much food costs and, like, rent and everything there. Everything is just, like, so much cheaper, so your money gets stretched out. And then there's also this thing called, like, I forget what it's called. It's like I forget what it's called, but if you there's, like, a tax exemption if you work, like, outside of the contiguous US for 330 days out of the year. You don't have to pay, like, federal tax on, like, the first 110K of your salary. And that's like a huge amount of money, right? It's like potentially like 30 or 40K or something like this, depending on your tax bracket and everything.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good benefits to it. If you're interested in that, just try to develop yourself as much as you can. I could talk about this at length, but, like, the better you are, like, the easier it's going to be for you to, like, have your autonomy, like, do whatever you want, essentially. Yeah.
I love it. You're absolutely right. When you're good at something, you have skills, guys, you can pretty much write your own ticket. And I love the fact that Josh is somebody who continues to educate himself. He has degrees, but he also has experience. And he was able to create, education material. I like to call it alternative education, because this doesn't require you to go to school, right? You can break into IT without going to college. Josh is also an instructor for course careers as well, too, for their IT course as well. And for people who will want to elevate from out of the entry level basic IT, they can choose leveled if they want to go into the cybersecurity space, or they can choose leveled if they want to, advance their career from that of a sales development rep to an account executive. Leveled Careers is a partner of ours that helps people to advance their careers from out of entry level to that of a more junior to senior level career, making a lot more money, right? You think about the cybersecurity space right now, Josh mentioned it. Entry level in cybersecurity is kind of like mid to junior, which is the reason why that salary is around like $97,000. If you were to advance your career as a sales development rep, if you chose to do so and you want to become an account executive, the role would be you almost would get paid almost twice as much. Entry level for sales development is about $55K, which an OTE of $80,000. Entry level for account executive is at least $105K with an OTE of matching that. So 210, right? Or a commission plan that matches that. So 210 OTE, right? So Level Careers is a partner of ours that you guys should check out. Check out the link in the description. They have their sales account executive course taught by one of the best instructors in the game, Mr. Kevin Dorsey. We also have Josh Modikar, who is our cybersecurity instructor. and he's absolutely created a fantastic products and service that is helping a lot of people break into the cybersecurity space, guys. Let's go over to Ashton. Ashton gave us a $10 super chat. Didn't have anything there, but that was thank you so much, Ashton, for the $10 super chat. Mr. Governor says, "Hi, at Josh. What resources do you use to search for contract jobs? What resources do you use, Josh, for contract jobs?"
ZipRecruiter, and then Indeed, and then I like using LinkedIn, and then filtering by less than 10 applicants, to be honest. And because that tends to yield a lot better results. And then when I'm looking for like cybersecurity jobs, I don't have it on me, but I made like a list of keywords that you can use, because usually people they don't know what to search, so they just search like SOC analyst or like cybersecurity. But you can search like other things. For example, if you type like NIST 861, you search that on Indeed. That's like the NIST, like the National Institute of Standards and Technology, is like computer incident handling thing, and that's on job descriptions. So a lot of stuff will come out like, incident response analyst and like threat response analyst, like something like this. So you just have to be kind of strategic about what you search for, like not only like the platform, but like what you're actually searching for, because there's a lot of like stuff that you could search that normally like it's not intuitive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can give that list if someone really wants. I included it in the course, but it's just like text, so I think it's okay to share. But yeah,
awesome. No, that's fantastic. I appreciate you answer that, Josh. And then that looks like that was the last of the questions. Somebody said to one of us, we need to change our smoke detector.
Oh, is that you?
I don't know. I haven't been home in some time, so I don't know if it's me or you. I have no idea. But I'll be able to find out after this live stream. I definitely hear it too, and I don't know. I have no idea. So what was interesting is this is the first time that I'm actually at the house, Josh, since since my daughter's surgery, because we've been living in Austin in a VRBO over the last 2 weeks, and this is my office space right here. And we do have a smoke detector in here, but I don't know if it's mine or if it's yours, either one. But one of us will be able to take care of that. That's so funny. Somebody said we'll get it figured out. I love it. We got a joke on here. Antoinette Query says, I was thinking that too.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry if it's me.
the fact that we are able to hear it, believe it, it's going to get fixed, and we won't have to worry about that anymore. But guys, thank you so much for stopping and tuning in today. Josh, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know it's late your time. I am so happy that we were able to get together today to give the audience a little bit more about your background, your thought process into the tech space, and how you're able to help individuals break into tech, but also how you did it yourself, right? And guide people along the way. And one thing I love about Josh's content, guys, is it's not just on tech, right? He also talks about education. He also talks about ways to reduce your costs on education. One of the only people that I know that talks about things like study.com and WGU and creates videos around that sort of stuff to help you, eliminate the need to go and spend, $100,000 on college and not get anything in return, right? When you have resources out there that will help you, do the exact same thing with, 1/4 the cost, right? So that you're not, labeled or labored by a whole bunch of student debt and things of that nature. So Josh creates a good amount of content that stretches a wide variety of things in the education, the lifestyle, because he's actually a digital nomad as well too. So fantastic content creator, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to bring him on the channel today. And I am appreciative of you, Josh, for not only coming on the channel, but also being a great guy and somebody that I consider to be somebody who I can pick up the phone and call at any point in time as well too, since we've been able to build our relationship. So I appreciate you, sir, for coming on the channel today. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this Saturday morning. Josh's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning. And guys, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. And until next time, guys, peace. Oh, we got another super chat that came in from Brother Rich Turner. I appreciate it, sir. Rich Turner says, I thought that was mine that was going off. LOL. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I'm going to be in New York, guys. I'm going to be in New York City the next 2 days. I'm going to hook up my brother Kev Tech IT support. Leaving out tomorrow morning. Get there at 10 a.m. in the morning. And we'll connect with you folks who are in the Black Heights community that are in New York City. I would plan a dinner Monday night or two, or Sunday night or Monday night, so that we can all get together and enjoy a cocktail or enjoy some steak or something along those lines. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your morning with me, your evening, wherever you are in the world, and your support. I appreciate it. The Life of Cam, thank you so much, my man. Kev Tech, thanks so much for coming through. NC Worker, thank you so much for coming through. Miss Wade, thank you so much. Antoinette, thank you so much. We'll get our smoke detectors fixed, by the way. We'll get our smoke detectors fixed for sure. And it might be mine. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't been home in a while. But we'll get it fixed either way. And I'm hearing it still. And I think Josh is on mute, so I think it may be my own house that started that. So I'll get it fixed. BCB, I appreciate you. Chief X, I appreciate you being here. Noah Page, thank you so much for being here, sir. Clark Wade, thank you so much. My brother, being here. The Bayless Code, thank you so much for being here today, sir. JB, thank you. JT, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Josh seemed to have gotten to that question. Mr. Governor, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Aston, thank you so much for the super chat. Paul Lamont, I appreciate you. Big brother Damien, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Tam, thank you for being here today. Let me see who else I didn't call on, man. Looks like that's everybody. Looks like that is absolutely everybody. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. Go and spend some time with your friends and family. Like I said, guys, I am back to my normal rotation now, and you will see me on Saturdays, 10:30 next Saturday. Following week, I'll go back to an 8:30 schedule, because next week is the last week of basketball, guys. Last week of basketball for me as coaching. So at least for this season anyway. But guys, I appreciate you guys. Go and enjoy the rest of your family. And until next time, y'all.